So this is another nice equation that you can think about. Again, if you have your journal with you, Andy mentioned a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Covey, Stephen Covey. Again, I agree with that's a great book. Another book that Andy and I both talked about is by an author called his name is Cal Newport, and he has a book called Deep Work, and he has an equation in that book, and it's high quality work produced equals time spent times intensity of focus. So if you think about all that we've been talking about, I know we spent a lot of time on the goal setting, but just in general, the things that you have to do every day, whether it was the example, Justice, that you gave, if I'm going to be a high quality tennis player, then the time that I spend on that and the intensity of that focus is going to drive that quality of work that I'm producing, which in this case is not only a winner of the tennis, but how am I as a team member? How am I as a representative of the university? Am I loud? Am I obnoxious? Do I talk back? Do I, slam my racket down when I'm angry? All those things really are part of what this, in my mind, what focus is about. So high quality work produced isn't just the end result. It's also that displaying of who you are as an individual. So same question I'll ask you, and if you do have your journal, what keeps you from producing high quality work? As you define it, I can't define your quality of work. Only you can. There's probably guidelines that each of us have based on the jobs that we have and the roles that we have. But what keeps us from producing high quality work? So time spent times intensity of focus is how we're defining high quality work. What distracts us about the time we spend? We've already talked about that, right? The matrix. Are you in quadrant 3 and 4 most of the time, or are you trying to spend that quadrant 2? And in your journal, what are some of the distractions in the last 24 hours that have kept you from time and intensity of focus? And if you want to share, you can share. Where is she? Yep, yeah, on mute.
I'm sorry, my hand was up.
Oh, your hand, you didn't mean for it to be up?
No, sir. I'm sorry.
No apologies. We got Alicia and Kelsey. So Alicia, you want to go first?
For me, mine was kind of a good distraction the last 24 hours, but my sister just had a baby yesterday. So that just made me really excited. And I've only been wanting to focus on my niece rather than like other stuff. So it kind of like took me off focus from my schoolwork, even though it was a positive distraction.
Yeah, that's a good example. Those may be exceptions to the rule, right? If I have a niece come in, I'm going to have to make some trade-offs, but that going in. So you may say, I'm going to spend this time that I've allotted with my niece and my sister, but I know that I still have to get these things done. So I may have to stay up a little bit later or get up a little bit earlier, but that's a conscious decision to have that fruit, right? The fruit says niece, but that root is making sure that you're establishing the relationship with her. And that's a great example where you've just made a decision to spend your time elsewhere, but you've done that consciously knowing there'll be other things that you have to get done. So great example. Kelsey?
My biggest, my distractions were as good as that one, but my biggest distractions were people like FaceTiming me and asking me to go do something. Like, as you guys all saw, we just got scooters put out on campus, and one of my friends called me at like 9 o'clock at night and was like, want to go do that? And I was like, yes, I'd much rather do that than homework. So
that's an honest answer. So that's good. But these are things, and again, they're all choices, and I don't ever judge whether they're right or wrong. We're all going to make choices. We just need to know what that trade-off to that choice is with the larger goal that you're trying to achieve. And I think that's important. And for me, I can name any number of things that, can distract me or keep me from producing high quality work. It could be, I have an issue in one plant, so I can't focus on this particular situation that I'm trying to deal with, or maybe there's something going on outside the organization that I'm involved with. So with the church or the school that I'm involved in, that again, I'm trying to get, but I have to set aside the time to get that focus in and that time spent in those 24 hours that I have available. And if I'm committed to it, it may mean I get 5 hours of sleep. You know, a rare occasion have I stayed up all night, but I have to get things done. But it is obviously knowing what those distractions are, which is why it's good to write them in your journal, and then say, if that's keeping me from producing the high quality work that I need to produce, is that distraction in quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4? And if that distraction happens to always be in 4, then I think then you really need to step back and say to yourself, it's not urgent. I'm just doing it as an excuse. And then you don't ever get where you want to get with your goals and objectives. So thank you for that. Any questions on the time spent and intensity of focus, Mary?
Yeah, and I don't know if this is a question or a statement rather, but like for me, and I don't know if anybody else gets like this, but there are some days where I just get really frustrated with one thing, and that prevents me from like being productive in any other area of my life. Like I just get really flustered and down, and that I would say that is one of the things that prevents me from doing quality work. So I guess my question would be, and it I know it's not an exception to the rule, but like, what would you suggest on days where you just don't feel like being productive, like you're trying to be productive but you just can't, or things like that?
Chanel, you going to answer the question for me?
I was going to say, I can definitely understand where you're coming from as far as like having something happen to you and not wanting to do anything. I would say the best way to overcome that is just simply, like, I guess, coming back to your neutral zone and then doing what you have to do. Because me personally, like, and I know everybody goes through stuff, but sometimes like I try to not let those things like really discourage me or stop me from doing what I have to do, because like I always say, like, those kind of moves are not really going to get you anywhere besides sitting in your same like mood that you're in. So like I try to always do other things to get me back motivated. Like as far as writing in my journal, like if I have a lot on my mind, I'll just write in my journal, and then like those are kind of things that help me. Or I'll just listen to music for a little bit. And then like honestly, I just made like a personal commitment to myself to not like let certain things get in the way of anything that I'm trying to do, because I mean in the past it has put me in major setbacks. Like I'm probably nowhere where I wanted to be right now, simply because I let a lot of things get in the way of that. So like me personally, like I said, I made a commitment to myself to not let certain moods or whatever stop me from doing those things and getting those kind of moods. Because like I said, it really doesn't bring you anywhere. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's so true.
Good sharing, Chanel. Thank you. And Mary, thanks for asking the question. And then Tim, you had your hand raised.
Yes, one thing I would advise, and I found it to be helpful to me, you have to have a good support system. Because, you know, as I think about the fruit and the root, I mean, if the soil that the root is planted in doesn't provide the necessary nutrients for the root to help produce the fruit, then the tree is not going to be fruitful at all. So it's good to have someone in your corner, maybe someone you can talk to, whether professional or family, somebody have to be in the lines of, you know, that's not going to let you slip, that's not going to allow you to stop your progress. Even when you don't feel like it, they're there to push you. So it's good to have a support system.
Absolutely. Kind of we think about just in general, right? What you said, there's the root, there's the soil, there's the tree itself, the seed, and all those things like that, really we got to think about. And, you know, one of the areas I want to reinforce to the group is, this isn't all perfect, right? We're not always going to be in this 100% work zone. There are going to be days that we are set back. It's how you respond to that. Like Chanel said, if I know I'm in this place, how do I get to my neutral zone? I call that true north. So if you look at my logo, that K has an arrow pointing up. That's a reminder to me that's true north. Where am I centered? That circle is about, hey, we're all equal. Who can I reach out to help me? You think about Coker's round table education. It's really about, we're all equal. We're sharing. We're there for each other. And I think it is. You got to have that support network, because at the end of the day, there are going to be tough days that are ahead of us. We are going to be challenged. No one said life was going to be easy, and we got to expect it, but it's how we respond to that. The days that you don't feel like doing it, there are days just, you got to do it. You got to push through it, even if it's for 10 minutes. If you're at a mental block, do what Chanel said. Maybe there's something you like to do, Mary, because I know you play music. So maybe that's get you back to neutral. But I think a lot of times we just get more and more frustrated, because it's like every time we try to do something, it just compounds. And I think when you get into that mode, and I love the word, Chanel, you use, is how do I get back to neutral or true north? But how do I recenter myself so I can refocus, get back into this time spent, get back into this intensity of focus, so I can deliver on what I've committed to whomever you've committed it to. So that's good. Thank you for that. Okay, next slide, Andy. So then a way that helps me kind of stay in this time, my focused intensity, that I love routine. I think we talked about that relative to time, whether you get up early at, 5 or 4, there's different, I don't ever say it's about how early is it routine. And I think a lot of times when we get out of our routine, then that's when we start feeling like we're getting off course or cadenced, being repetitive, like making the bed. That's your first win of the day. That's routine. I get up, I do it every day. If I don't feel like it, I'm going to do it, because it's repetition, and then being resilient about it. I think these are 3 R's when I think about focus and the energy I have to put into my day every day. Is I got to have a routine. I love repetition, and I'm resilient about making it happen. And there are days I don't get everything done, but I do know that if I stay true to these 3 R's, it's very helpful to me. So any comments or thoughts about routine, repetition, or resilience when it comes to the 3 R's, and maybe how you've applied those, Mary?
Yeah, I have a question about so for routine, do you think that it takes less dedication and resilience? So like for you getting up early, for me getting up early, it takes like a ton of motivation and resilience. But would you say that if that became a routine, it would take less and less motivation because it's more of like a habit now?
Yeah, I think it is about the routine, and then your body gets used to it and your brain gets used to it. And I think that's the thing that we don't really have any time to get into. And maybe another session we can talk about the gray matter between our ears and the muscle memory that you build. But I think everybody's different. But I am a believer that, there are reasons that you're not able to get up. And I think that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it starts to build that repetition, which forces your brain to think differently. And you're not going to let your brain make the decision for you. You're making the decision and telling that brain, no, it's time to get up, and I'm going to get up. And over time, I think it does become easier. But if you choose to go to bed at 2 in the morning and still expect to get up at 5, that's just discipline at that point. You're going to need to get up, and you're going to be dragging the rest of the day. But if you decide, well, I decided to stay out till 2 and I'm going to sleep till 10, well, your routine and your repetition just got thrown off course. Chanel, you had a comment?
Yes, I was gonna comment on what Mary said because I'm also a person who wake up early, and all my friends always question it and think I'm crazy for doing it. But you definitely get more done in the morning. I mean, you definitely get more done when you start your day early. So like freshman year, I used to take a lot of naps and stuff like that. And then like sophomore year, that's when I stopped taking naps. I just completely cut naps out of my day in general. And then junior year is like, yes, I just continued the same habits, not taking naps at all. And then like I would say my senior year, which is now and over the summer, before I came into my senior year, I started practicing just waking up early every single day. And it's about actually getting up out of your bed and doing something. Like if you just wake up at 5 and then not do anything, of course it's going to make your body tired because you're just being in your comfortable spot, which is your bed. So when I first wake up, I usually go like in the bathroom. That's the first thing that I do. And then, of course I turn on the motivational message, and then I just wake up. And sometimes I do like a short little workout, and then I write in my journals, the different journals that I have. Sometimes I meditate in the morning too. So it's just about like waking up and having a morning routine. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this book. I think it was a book and a movie. I think they made it to the movie. It's called Miracle Morning, but he also like has like a list of certain steps you should take in the morning. And he said he used to get it done in about an hour. I haven't read much into it, but I can definitely see the benefits. Like if like 5 in the morning, like I can wash all of my clothes before like 7 a.m. And then like the rest of my day, like I'm an early morning person. I like having meetings in the morning, all of that. Like, so you can just enjoy the rest of your day, finish homework in the morning, all of that. So it's like and then it's just like, I don't want to bring like unhealthy habits like into my like adulthood. So that's another reason why I take the time to practice now to wake up early every single morning. Cause I just feel like it's a good and healthy habit. Like I don't really like to sleep in late. Like I always try to get up before 8, even before 6. I always try to get up before 6 at least, because like you just have more time in your day to get a lot of things done. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
It's good. No, I think certainly those are good examples. The Miracle Morning, Tony Robbins, there's a bunch of folks that talk about this mindfulness, kind of getting your brain ready, 3 minutes to be thankful, 3 minutes to reflect on the day, and another 3 minutes to think about how am I going to contribute. So it's all about getting that routine in the brain moving. So Alicia, one last question. We'll move to the next, the homework.
Just really quickly, I wanted to say I also struggle getting up early in the morning, and some advice I was given is to just try to get up at least 30 minutes earlier every day. So say you wake up at 10 usually, try to get up 30 minutes earlier than that the next day and keep doing it, because then over just a span of a week, you can start like waking up hours earlier than what you usually do, and then that's when it could become an easier routine.
Yeah, that's a great, and do it incrementally, correct? I mean, I think that's the thing is if you're used to getting up at 8 and you can tell yourself you're going to get up at 5, that 3 hours might really throw your body for a loop. So Alicia, I think that's a great example. So we have about 3 minutes left. So thank you for the participation today. It's been fantastic. I would ask that in your journals that you think about your last 24 hours. So yesterday to today, based on what we talked about, what are all the things you did in the last 24 hours? How would you define the work you did towards your goal? Again, we're kind of shifting back to what you stated as your goal in the beginning. Was it focused effort? Was it distracted busyness? Was it idle laziness? So some of you have longer term goals. Some of you have midterm or short term, but every day you should be working towards achieving the goal that you've set out for yourself, or goals. How could you intensify your focused work, right? So if you can intensify, as Chanel said, hey, I know I'm going to get up at 5 and by this amount of time, I want to get this done. That's routine. It's done every day. And no matter what, I'm going to find a way to get that done, that resilience. So I would ask that you use your journals. And I heard a couple folks talk about journaling, and hopefully the Kooper Leadership Academy journal has been helpful, and you can go back and reflect on it. But that would be what I would ask that you do and before our next session. Next slide. And then goal setting, kind of going full circle. Extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. And I have a thing that I talk to my team all the time is we're going to simplify, we're going to focus, and we're going to execute. And I really believe that that extraordinary results will be determined by how narrow I can keep the team focused on the goals that we've set for ourselves and not let all these other distractions get in the way. And a lot of times distractions are just excuses. And Andy, I believe we got the SMART goals. You can go ahead and skip through that. And then homework, this slide will be made available to you. Again, challenge yourself to continue to manage your time differently. Challenge yourself to think differently about your intensity of focus, thinking about the 3 R's, and then have you clearly articulated your priorities. What's really important to you every day, and are you committed to those priorities? Are you interested? And I think you'll be able to answer those for yourselves just based on all the things we've talked about in our goal, our time series. And then today we spent a lot of time reinforcing that, and we ended with focus. What are we doing to really make sure we're staying focused on the things that we say we're going to do to be and achieve our goals? So I'll end with this quote: "The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus." Bruce Lee. All right, Andy, we're right at the top of the close time. So
outstanding job today, Gary. Thank you as always. And let's just hang on here a couple extra minutes if folks are able, and let's give some feedback to Gary again like we did last time. How about we hear from 2 or 3 of you real quick about a key learning moment or takeaway that you had from today?
I really appreciate the opportunity for everybody else to give input, because like even just what you said, Chanel, I feel like completely motivated to get up early in the morning and like get stuff done. So I think we should definitely continue having like input from other students.
Excellent. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, I also really appreciated that, because I'm also like a really morning person and my roommates are not, and they think I'm kind of crazy if I wake up early or go to bed early, but now I know other people from my age are the same. So I really appreciate that. I like to hear like their experiences too. So yeah.
Thank you, Britt. I agree that Gary does an awesome job with letting others chime in throughout. How about one more?
I guess I'll say so. Yeah, this was real good for me. Like I said, I had a rough week. Matter of fact, last week and beginning of this week. But when we started talking about this focus, I was sitting here thinking and writing how I can tweak my focus, because a lot of times if we're not focused, we'll be tossed to and fro. But I appreciate the focus. I appreciate this whole thing, because it's causing me to really look at myself differently.